The Vancouver Police Department's report on its missing women investigation has been made public. The document confirms women's lives could have been saved, but a series of mistakes and omissions by police investigators failed to interrupt Robert Pickton's murder spree. The report was originally slated to be released to the public on September 9th, but information contained in the report had been leaking out to the media outlets around the province and the country since the beginning of the week. We have reaction from the family of one of Pickton's victims, but first, more on the report, which has been ready for years but was kept secret while Pickton's criminal case made its way through the courts. An internal police review says 13 women went missing from Vancouver's downtown Eastside after the city's police force first forwarded information about Robert Pickton to the RCMP in Coquitlam, including 11 later linked to Pickton's Port Coquitlam farm.
There were errors made in a number of different places.
The 450-page document prepared by the Deputy Chief of Vancouver Police blames both forces for errors that prevented either from arresting Pickton until 2002, years after officers first started looking at Pickton as they investigated reports of missing sex workers. Deputy Chief Doug LePard says Vancouver Police gave the RCMP information about Pickton in 1998 and 1999.
I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I owe it to the families and the public to be open and forthright. They will likely find the contents of this report to be shocking and sad.
LePard says his report makes a series of recommendations, including improving information sharing between the RCMP and Vancouver Police. And he says those recommendations have already been implemented. Vancouver's police chief says much has happened in policing in the province over the past several years to ensure this will never happen again.
We fully share information. Every day information goes to a provincial intelligence center. A daily bulletin pools information from Abbotsford, from Prince George, from Vancouver. It goes to all the frontline investigators.
The report will likely increase calls for a public inquiry, which both Vancouver Police and the RCMP have said they support. The province hasn't said whether that will happen. Earlier this month, a publication ban was lifted on Pickton's criminal case, and Canadians learned Pickton had been accused of trying to kill a prostitute on his Port Coquitlam farm in 1997.
But at the time, you don't know who's right and who isn't. They were all trying their very best with the tools they had, the training they had, the direction they had to catch this killer.
The RCMP descended on Pickton's farm in 2002 and launched a massive search that uncovered the remains or DNA of 33 women. He has been charged with 27 counts of murder and eventually convicted of 6. But there have long been questions about why police didn't catch Pickton sooner or take reports of women disappearing from the downtown East Side more seriously. Late this afternoon, the RCMP responded saying it's still reviewing the Vancouver Police internal report. The RCMP told reporters Deputy Chief LePard could have interviewed RCMP officers but chose not to. Mounties are also calling for the government to create a DNA database of missing people. The police review and apology is too little and too late for a Vancouver Island family. Marnie Frey was one of the 6 women Pickton was found guilty of murdering. Her Campbell River family searched tirelessly for Marnie and have been critical of the investigation into the missing women file.
Apology is great, but it's not solving the problem, and they're still deceased. They're still gone, and they're still going to keep missing. I mean, they can say they're sorry all they want, but what does sorry mean? If they were women from SFU or UBC or exchange students, they would have acted upon it totally different.
Because of their background?
Because of their background, because they were drug-addicted prostitutes, they were throwaways. And that's the end of the story. They were throwaways and nobody gave a damn. And now they're apologizing. It doesn't cut it for me.
Marnie Frey went missing in September 1997, the very same year Pickton was accused in the death of a prostitute. Marnie's stepmother says her death and many others could have been prevented had police properly investigated the disappearance of the missing women.